What began as a political upheaval of 13 colonies against the British Empire led to the creation of the United States as an independent state. However, it was also the inspiration for social and political upheavals elsewhere around the world. One major influence it had was on the French Revolution between 1789 and 1799. First was the passage of the Stamp Act in 1765. The Stamp Act was passed by the British Parliament and was the first direct tax imposed on the British colonies in North America. The goal of this was to help finance the British troops in the colonies. They also aimed to reduce their amount of debt from the French and Indian Wars between 1754 and 1763. Next was the Boston Massacre in 1770. This incident took place between British soldiers and a group of colonists in Boston. A group of 9 British soldiers opened fire on the crowd. 5 men were killed and 6 men were wounded. The 9 soldiers were arrested by the next morning, partly relieving tensions in the city. After that was the Boston Tea Party in 1773. A group of 70 men boarded 3 British ships in the Boston harbor and threw the tea cargo into the sea. This was a protest against the Tea Act that was passed by the British Parliament earlier that year. The Tea Act gave the British East India Company monopoly on tea sales in the colonies. Then came the passage of the Intolerable Acts in 1774. In response to the Boston Tea Party, the British Parliament passed a series of laws. These became known as the Intolerable Acts. The Boston harbour was closed for all shipping until the city would pay for the destroyed tea cargo. Political authority of the colonists was limited, and legal persecution of British officials was made more difficult. Next were the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775. During these events, the British governor of Massachusetts sent several hundred troops to seize the colonists' military stores at Concord. The intentions of the British were soon discovered by the patriot colonists, who decided to prevent the soldiers from carrying out their plan. Local militiamen gathered at Lexington to intercept the British troops. These troops managed to push through the outnumbered militiamen towards Concord. When they reached Concord, they clashed with militiamen at the North Bridge. As the British were defeated this time, they were forced to withdraw from Boston. Afterwards was the surrender of Yorktown in 1781. After a successful land and sea campaign by joint American and French forces in Virginia in 1781, the British were trapped on the Yorktown Peninsula. The British commander, Lieutenant General Lord Cornwallis, realized that he did not have the slightest chance of victory and tried to escape. He failed, though, and on the 19th October, he accepted the terms of surrender. Finally was the signature of the Treaty of Paris in 1783. The American War of Independence, and with it the Revolution, ended with the Treaty of Paris. The British accepted defeat against its former colonies and recognized independence of the United States of America. The treaty also defined the boundaries of the U.S. The boundaries included in this were the Mississippi River for the west, the Great Lakes for the north, the 31st parallel for the south, and guaranteed American fishing boat access to Newfoundland.